So this is what everybody really looks like when they take their mask off after guns, beer, and therapy.
Oh my goodness.
Try to take a shower here, guys. Come on, get out of here. Close your eyes.
Howdy, Hillbilly Nation. This is American Hillbilly. Oh, man. Good to see y'all out there, everybody. And, man, I know this is kind of a short pop-up chat. I just posted it, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours ago. And the reason I did is just stuff going on, today being 9/11. That's something else that, has stuck to me. And I know a lot of you guys over the years. And then with what happened to Charlie Kirk yesterday. Anyway, I just wanted to come on tonight because as far as I know, I don't think anybody in our community does a Thursday night show. So I was like, well, let's do a show tonight and let everybody talk about, things they want and with either one of these and situations, like I said, pretty much we're going to be talking about 9/11 and Charlie Kirk. And yeah, very sad situation. And anyway, I want to bring somebody out of the green room here. We have Justin from Fuel and Firepower. How you doing this evening, buddy?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Today there's a lot on the table today as far as emotions, with 9/11 and then what happened yesterday. And so, I thought I'd just do a pop-up chat here tonight. And so people could kind of express, what they feel inside, because sometimes we don't have the opportunity to maybe talk about stuff and things like that, and we don't want stuff to just build up inside until it just blows, and because then in that type of situation, we could be taking it out on our family or friends or whatever, just because we have something that's bothering us on the inside and everything. And so I was like, well, let's go ahead and do this show tonight and, let people kind of express themselves, on the side chat and on the panel and everything. And, because 9/11, that's 2001. So what, 24 years ago? And, that's something that, we don't want to forget. There's almost pretty much 3,000 people that lost their life that day, innocent, souls. And, so, we always want to bring them in remembrance and everything. And so, we'll kind of start out talking about 9/11. And I got a friend that I trade stocks with. His name's Nick. He's been on my show before, especially when it rolled around like it landed on 9/11. And he is a 3rd generation New York City firefighter. And he still is a firefighter. And I tried to get a hold of him this afternoon, which I know they're always very busy because they do basically like a walk and bicycle rides and this and that, for, the people that were lost for 9/11. And so I know he was super busy. And but I was hoping maybe get him on tonight, but that didn't happen. But anyway, I sent out an invitation to some people, and I know Justin, you said he's gonna be a little late. Thank you for getting on here. And I think few other people said they might be a little late getting on here, but anyway, oh man, how you doing today, Justin?
Hey, I'm all right. Got off work, went to a bunch of ball games, came
Yeah.
home.
Well, kids playing ball, huh?
Yeah, I
Oh
got 3 in basketball.
yeah. Yeah, I just have one granddaughter plays every Monday, and then the other two that's around here are a little younger, and they'll have some games. That most usually it's a short little deal, like in the summertime, like maybe 3 games, or whatever. And so theirs are basically like a T-ball and a few things. They don't play a whole lot of games, but anyway, yeah, that's quite the deal because my one granddaughter, she plays volleyball, basketball, and softball, and she's 10 years old. And so, yeah.
Mine run. They run cross country. They play basketball. They play softball. It's just they want to play volleyball, but there's no time.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, we'll talk, starting off, we'll talk a little bit about 9/11. And also, out there in the side chat, you know, any thoughts or anything you want to share out there, please feel free to, and we'll highlight it and everything. So I know, like, I remember the day, 24 years ago that happened, and it's a day that I just, won't ever forget. And, there's certain times like that through history, that like really sticks onto you, just like when the spaceship blew up. I was in high school then, and that day, like I remember, exactly what went on that day. Something about the impacts like that on your life that you remember, what happens. And anyway, Justin, you got anything you want to share about 9/11?
I remember it. I graduated in '03, so it was it was '01. And like you said, I remember it so well. I remember the day so well, and I couldn't tell you the day before or day after, but I remember that day. I was in earth science class, and somebody come in and whispered something to the teacher, and we had one of the big TVs up in the side of the room, and he turned it on, and we all watched. And I mean, it's just devastating. It was at that point in time in my life. I wasn't nowhere near as mature as I was now. And it still affected me. Still to this day, I think about it, and you think about all the people that lost their lives. I hate it, and this last little bit, the beginning of this month's been rough, man. It seems like we ain't been able to get away from bad news.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a rough rough month for news, and stuff like that. And yeah, it 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 is rough. I mean, and it's just amazing how something like that just like sticks in your memory, and then he says, "Yep, that's a big day for me too. I was a senior in high school." Perry says, "I was 39 years old when it happened," and yeah, I remember, that day for me. It was I did excavating, and so I had my own excavating company. And anyway, one of my buddies I went to school with, he had a couple dump trucks and stuff, and so he was they hauled asphalt, for like not really the state department. They were doing state roads and this and that. And anyway, he had like I think 3 dump trucks and stuff, and they were working that day and everything. And then that evening, they were going to pave downtown Branson, and they can only do it at nighttime. And so one of his drivers, couldn't make it and stuff. And so he called me. He's like, "Hey, can you run the truck tonight for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. I'll help you out." So like we started at midnight, and because Branson's all tourist town, like they only do it late at night, and it was cold that night. I mean, I remember it was cold because when we do like asphalt like that, when you back up to the hopper, the lay down machine, when you raise your bed up before they open your tailgate, there's somebody from the state there, and they got heat guns, and they'll put it in there. And if that temperature is not warm enough, they just send you right back to the asphalt plant to dump it and get another load. And because it has to be a certain temperature, or what they want for it to lay down good. So, like we'd haul a couple loads, and then like the third or fourth load, we was waiting in line because there's, quite a few trucks hauling. And anyway, I remember like the last one or two, like it was getting cold enough that when we pull up there, they'd hit it with the heat gun. It wasn't cool enough, so they had to take it back to the, asphalt plant and dump it. And so heading home, and it's like 5:30 in the morning, and so I told my buddy, I'm like, "Hey, I'm just gonna leave the truck at my house, so when your guy gets there in the morning and go to work, just have him get in my truck. The keys are in it, my pickup truck. Drive it to my house. I'll leave the keys in the dump truck, because I'm like, I am too tired because I had to get the kids up for school and everything, and so anyway, got home, and so like once I got the kids on the bus, I just laid across the bed and went to sleep. I didn't even cover up. I was so tired. And my phone rings, and it's my mother. And I can't remember exactly what the time, mid-morning, somewhere in there, close to noon or whatever our time. And she goes, "Have you watched the news? You hear what's going on?" I'm like, "No." And she goes, "Turn on the news." So I did. And it's like, wow, it just, I sat there, for hours watching the news, and, just in awe. It's like, I can't believe what's going on here. And I'm going to catch up on these comments here. Then he says, 9/11 was shocking and changed the world for many Americans. For the first time in most of our lives, we had a serious threat and act of terrorism within our borders. I was in my 40s when 9/11 happened. Yeah. Got a lot of people saying hi out there. And so, welcome everybody that's in here. Yeah, it definitely was a game changer. And I remember it was probably like 6-8 months after 9/11, we had a firefighter like come to our church. He was doing some traveling and talking about it, what happened there. And anyway, he had some of these like little pins, and that they were actually selling for like $5 a piece or whatever to they could pin on like your shirt or jacket or whatever, and the money is going to help the families of the firefighters and stuff that is lost. See, okay. Well, feller, I don't know what your problem is out there, but
I'm interested in talking to him if he wants to talk.
I mean, he asked, you guys dumb or serious? I mean,
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's got it all figured out.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how most people are behind a keyboard anymore, and that's a big part of what's wrong with the world. Is there's not enough people that gets punched in the face, and
Yeah.
I'm a true believer in when there's no consequences for your actions, you're much more willing to do things wrong things.
Yeah.
If you stand in front of somebody and you say something that's conflicting, that's that you're not trying to talk, you're not trying to have a discussion, you're trying to attack. You do something like that, and you're met with force the way it should be. You learn real quick that maybe you should choose your words wisely. And and I can tell. Oh my god, yeah. Well, he's a conspiracy theorist, so that
Yeah.
answers a lot. He's watched TikTok too many times.
Yeah. You know, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion, and we. But anyway, Abigail out there, she throws in a milestone membership for 23 months. Says one more month, she'll be here for 2 years. Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, they're exactly right, Sam. In the world, not in the word. Y'all pass judgment quick. I mean, you're entitled to your opinions, buddy, and there's Hasbro out there, hey, buddy.
And you don't pass a judgment quick, but when your first comment is question, are you guys dumb and serious? I mean, you set the tone, you set the precedence for this conversation and how it's going to go first thing.
Yeah.
I'm I'm not scared of conflict. I enjoy it. I would rather do it face to face, but I mean, it just these people, man. You got so many people out there that's posting so much stuff online, and just they breed hate, and that's all it is. It's just breeding hate, and you pass that along to people, and then people get behind it, and people just it's awful, man. It's a plague. It's no self. I don't know. I could rant for hours about how there's no there's no consequences to the things you're saying and doing. So you just push it and push and push, and then you get to a mentality where you're like a child again, and you just like, oh, look what I can look what I can get away with. It's mature people can talk and have a discussion and sit back and forth and not see things the same way, but still go through a discussion, shake hands, and walk opposite ways. Everybody's life stays the same. And then you got
Yeah.
people like this guy that was on a roof that just took a shot, and took a great man from us, a father, a husband, a son, took that from the world because they didn't like what he said. Yeah, and I, I'm having a hard time with it. I had a hard time with it all day today. To think that it touches home with me. I've got six daughters. I've got one son, and I've got a grandson. And to think that just because somebody has a conflicting view than me, that I might not get to come home to them, it breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It does. And, you know, um, you know, you don't mind, I'll just call you Jay. But I can't pronounce your last name. And if you served, I appreciate your service, as I have respect for all military people. And this is just chat. Talking, letting people express themselves and everything about 9/11 and Charlie Kirk. We started out with 9/11, and you're entitled to your opinion. And if you believe something else, that's understandable. But then how you come about presenting that, kind of your first sentence, um, was not the exact way to bring on you know, a, a decent conversation, and so, but,
there's a way to be polite, and he didn't. Jay, I'll speak directly to you. Jay, you did not come off as wanting to have a discussion.
yeah. Yeah, and also Jay Delta out there, he's a retired Marine, and just so you know. He's talking, Marine brother to brother there, so what did Charlie do prior to being shot? Well, his deal had just started. I think he's only on his third third question. But the shooter had to be, already had all this stuff planned, as, people, a gun community, we know what it is to, take a, roughly a 200 minus or plus some shot, with a drop like that and be that accurate. That wasn't just that was definitely planned, regardless.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about this, and I've seen where they had petitions to keep him from coming there, and they had so many signatures because they just didn't want him there. But that like you hear a lot of people that don't understand uh, the gun world, and they don't shoot a lot or whatever. He 200 yards. Oh, I don't know about. I know that most of us 200 yards ain't nothing, and we're just good old country boys. I mean, I don't have any formal training other than hunting my entire life and just shooting as much as I can. Uh, 200 yards. And they want to call him a hired killer, a trained assassin. That no, he's probably a hunter. You're 200-yard shot ain't as out there as most people think, and I think that's one thing where people is just running off on is like, oh my god, it's a 200-yard shot. Man, with very little practice, you can be accurate at 200 yards with the right rifle.
Yeah. Well, one thing we don't know for certain, they said they had found a 30-06 Mosin Nagant wrapped up in a towel and thrown in the woods. What they didn't say if it had a scope on it or if it was open sights, so that we don't know. At least that from what I've heard yet. But
I haven't heard what rifle yet.
Picture of the young man they're looking for doesn't look like a hunter, but who knows at this point? Yeah. But 200 yards. The reason I know like about elevation, either shooting down or shooting up, living here in the mountains. Now I first learned that at a young age, shooting a bow and arrow, and I had different sights on my bow. If I was up in a tree stand or on the ground, because if I use, say, I'm just saying, so if I had a 20 yard, marker, sight on my bow and arrow, and and I was shooting from the ground level, I was pegging it, bullseyes, I get up in the tree, I would shoot over the target, and, in the same way, with the rifle, well, Hasbro talks about, because his, just shooting bench rest 22 at, his, backyard range, it's downhill towards his target, and so he has to, affect that, adjust to that, just, a little bit of a downhill and stuff. And this person was elevated. I mean, I don't know what the elevation was, but being on top of a building and then all the way down in there, even if you're a good hunter, I still think, especially if it's a 30-06 Mosin Nagant, which definitely, that, won wars, but I still think, for a shot like that, it is definitely planned. Okay, DJ says the rifle was not a Mosin, and it was scoped. I wonder what. Oh, it was a Mauser. That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, it was a Mauser. I apologize. I did hear. I was saying Mosin Nagant, but I did hear him say Mauser. Yeah. Chad says 200 yards with a Mauser. If that's the fact of the rifle was tip shot 200 yards, scoped or not. So. Yeah, the video shows he was prone, so Abby says it was a commercial Mauser, like most post 90s. Adriel says they keep saying it was a 30-06, so not a Mauser. Yeah, I don't know. I just, from what they've been saying on the news, and of course, who knows at this time? Yeah. And let's face it, most of these news people and, maybe even some plea or whatever, some people might not, be able to identify the cartridge or, the rifle correctly either. So, I don't know if there's been any pictures of it put up or not. But also, there is a picture up. Okay.
I just looked. I couldn't find it myself.
Yeah, I seen that. The guy adjusted his hat and he had like long sleeves on and he pulled his sleeves up right before the shot, but I don't know.
I mean, you can look into anything, and
it would have been pretty obvious if he was responsible for giving a signal, but I don't know why you'd need a signal because, I mean, Charlie sits down and talks for hours with these kids, so I don't know what there would have been a signal about, really. Ozzy says, I don't think he's alone. Okay, yeah, he talks about Remebering.
Yeah. I mean, right after it happened, I made a post about it on my personal Facebook, and one of my friends had sent me a thing. He's like, man, it's conspiracy theories have already started, and there is one, and and you can look into stuff, but it shows moments before he's been shot and then after he's shot, his ring actually changes fingers, and it's like it's very odd, I guess, but anything can be manipulated, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's definitely um, true, and I just hope that, like, they get to the bottom of it, they find the shooter, and then they're honest, with the public about what happens. Anyway, and I don't know. I just hope the person don't get away, and they actually find the correct actual person. But from what I understand, like right after it first happened, I seen they had some older guy um like arrested or something right there. And from what I heard today, him and like somebody else immediately like raised their hands and said, I shot him. And so uh it seems like it was to throw the police or the security campus or whoever off of actually finding, the actual, like, noticing the actual shooter. And so that is just what I thought was really weird. It's almost like if what I heard was correct, that two different people, that one older guy first, and then after that somebody else. It's like they were running a a cover, or trying to stall, for the actual shooter. Maybe not. I don't know, but yeah, they yeah they claim that they know the path he took, blah blah blah, and they got some photos. The one thing I don't understand is why didn't they release those photos immediately to like the bus stations, train stations, airports, that stuff. You know, um, is what I'm wondering. It's like, if you got a picture of somebody, maybe they didn't get the picture right away. Maybe that's why. But you know, I would think that you would want it out there, especially if you've not caught the person out there public, so people could, maybe help out. Yeah.
They said they got the person of, or they have a person of interest, but I don't know how much they actually know about him other than his pictures. I don't know if they have a name or if he was a student there or whatnot. But he was of student age, so it would make sense.
Yeah. The one thing, about it is I don't care, who the person is, what political party they came from or anything like that. If they've not done any physical harm or basically committed the crimes or anything like that for voicing their opinion, It really doesn't give somebody the right to take their life. I mean, that's what's so sad about it. And even if you go back to 9/11, those people in those buildings and, all the firefighters and policemen and everything, you know, um, they had families. They didn't do anything, you know. Um, it don't give somebody the right to take innocent people's life. That's what, is probably, one of the toughest things. And I'll say this about Charlie Kirk is people, these, college students, uh, they didn't have much of a voice, other than maybe TikTok, blah, 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 or something going on in their campus, right? Well, Charlie Kirk had built, a humongous platform. And he went, from college to college, all across the states. And, it was a open mic for debate, and stuff like that. So regardless if what you know, your beliefs were as far as, religion or sex or whatever, politics, these kids had an opportunity, to get on a platform that was, worldwide, that several people are watching, and express, their thoughts and all that. You know, so, you know, he opened it up to everybody. And I never seen any time out of the videos I've watched, it's been, hundreds, that he was ever rude to anybody or called them any names, nothing like that, and, so not only when they took him out, they took out, even if they were against him, they took the platform away from other kids, that had, their opinions to make, regardless of what it was. And so, say hi to MCK out there too. He just joined us. Yep. What's the game? Yeah. And, I don't know. We may never, understand or know what the deal was, that happened. But I hope we do get some answers. I mean, it's still like with Trump, the two, assassinations attempts on him. We still haven't got really clear answers about those people, and it's been, several months. So,
yeah, and there's a lot of talk in the chat here about division and all that, and that is a huge problem. Is people can only see one side of it. Uh, my household, I vote Republican. I've been a Republican for as long as I can remember. My wife votes Democrat. Guess what? We get along great. We talk.
mm-hmm.
We don't see the same on every subject, and we don't have to because we're two different individuals, right? You got to. The main thing is you've got to have the maturity to know that you can talk about things, and you don't always have to agree on what
Mm-hmm.
the other one believes. It and saying it like that, I mean, it sounds so simple, and it's hard for people like me to not understand why people just can't understand that themselves. Like you don't have to agree on everything. I didn't vote for Biden, but he got in. You have 4 years of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cry all you want, but he won fair and square. So they say, and he did his policies. He ran the country like he thought, and you just have to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't wish death on somebody like that. That
Exactly.
he was a father. He's a grandfather. He's a husband. Somebody don't, and I just don't understand why people can't understand that there can be difference. Like that's what makes America great. There's different. Like there's so
Yeah.
many different cultures that come together. And I just man, it's hard to fathom. It's hard to wrap my mind around uh, why all this division is in the world. And I'm sure. I'm not saying that anybody's wrong out there that talks about they're trying to push division on us because it's all that you see on the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you see on these little talk shows with all the women in it. You know what I'm talking about. They constantly try to divide the world. They try to make the Republican side, they're all just insane. They're gun nuts and all this other stuff. Listen, I just want my freedoms. you know,
Yeah.
I don't misuse my freedoms. I'm not out there causing all this stuff. I'm, a contributing member of society. I've tried to do really well for myself, to stay out of trouble. Um, and I just, it's just hard, man. I can't understand it, And I've watched I don't know if I've ever missed one of his videos, and I love watching him talk with people because he will give them, he'll give them room to talk, and that's something that they're like, well, no, you won't let me talk. He's like, yeah, we'll talk,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it takes. It takes two people having a conversation to get past something. And if they can't get past it, they can at least agree to disagree and move on.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you that. And that's one thing that I think probably drew, like I said, you, me, and a lot of people towards Charlie Kirk was, he he wasn't getting mad and pounding the table and screaming at somebody,
Right.
He would let them say their piece, whatever they had to say. He would rebuttal, give them opportunity to talk back, and I think that's why so many of these younger, college kids, really liked him. And even, people, I've heard so many times in the last 2 days, kids that's just young teenagers, like how upset they were. They watched, these videos of Charlie Kirk. They connected with him. And, I think it was he had touched on something with these kids and gave them a voice, and that they probably never got. I mean, when I was in high school, or even my in college years or whatever, there was no platform that I could go to on that and express something like that, and maybe debate somebody that I thought was might be wrong or have a different opinion than me, and so. Admiral says, saw a news report saying bold actions are rapid fire guns. You got to make it fit the narrative. Abby says they are rapid, the FUDs. And Michael says, why does every shooter ditch their firearm in the woods? Yeah, that's kind of weird too. We should all not be divided. Yeah, I agree. And that's most usually people. I have friends that don't have same opinions on everything. that I do. But I mean, if that's brought up, it don't end up in a fist fight or nothing. We say our piece, and I mean, I know, like, I have 2 or 3 friends that they're not really necessarily anti 2A, but they just don't want guns in their home. And they've told me before, like, well, if things get bad, I just I'm coming to your house. And, so, like, they don't discredit me for owning firearms, and I don't discredit them for not owning firearms. We can still go ride ATVs and have beer together, I mean, regardless, and so, it's just, matter of opinion. I mean, like you said a while ago, husbands and wives, man, there's a lot of times a lot of different opinions just in, between, a married couple. But sometimes that's what makes, the life exciting, and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just a hillbilly, from the hills down here, and my wife, she's come from like 6 hours north of here, but grew up, fairly close to the city, and so we're definitely not you know the same people by any means. And oh yeah, you're heading down to Chad's tomorrow. J Delta's already down there. I talked to Chad today and him both, and yeah, J Delta's already down there in Tennessee for that big shoot that Chad's having at the range. So looking forward to seeing videos on that. Yeah, less compromise and more collaboration. Yeah. Yeah. I know Bubba had texted me a few minutes ago. He's on his way home. He's wanting to get on here this evening too. And so he was working. But yeah, I know there's a few of them out there in the side chat that has a link to the panel. If you want to jump on, go right ahead. But I understand it is a Thursday night, so. Jay says, yesterday was a very dark day. Y'all end in prayer. God bless y'all. Thank you for that, buddy. And yes, prayer is very strong. And I'm sure we'll end this show with prayer. No doubt about that. And also, I seen back up there a while ago, we were talking to didn't get a chance to say hi when he popped in, but Mario Mosen, seen him out there, hey buddy, and a lot of other people has popped in, and so actually, everybody in the side chat, if you want to just type in 911, Justin, would you like to call them out when they type in 911, buddy, and we'll let them all be recognized because we appreciate each and every one of them for being here.
All right, looks like we got Jacob S. We got Abigail, Mr. Bob. I can't pronounce his last name. We got Dabalina. We got Ozzy Osbourne, J Delta. We got Gizzard Gary, Ron 2A Matters.
All right. Good to see each and every one of you out there.
Yeah, we had a pretty good showing tonight. That's nice on a Thursday.
Yeah, like I said, not much of a warning, for everybody. We're gonna do this. I just always feel that it's better to talk about, stuff than to keep it bottled up inside, because, I think a person, once you bottle that up, at some point, it's got to come out, and
There's DJ.
yeah.
Play now.
See, Michael Dunn says, have any of you guys heard about the two guys behind Kirk? Were on the hit. Some were saying they were doing hand signals movements before the event. Yeah, I've heard that. But I mean, most of these people there in the tent area and around him have been with him, for a very long time. Very dedicated. And, I know a lot of them were either ex-military, had military training. And basically, it's just, I don't think they, were looking for guns or whatever, maybe more of a crowd control, or if somebody just, rushed him, that type of situation. And from everybody and everything I've heard, if they knew Charlie and all that, personally, I don't think he had any enemies that was around him, because so many people thought so much of him and what he was doing, that they were supporters and they wanted to be, on his team. So I really don't know. I mean, yeah. I think we're going to do a lot of conspiracy theories, for sure.
Yeah,
See,
anytime something like that happens, you get a ton of them.
Going to be on the road tomorrow. Good to see you, my boy. My boy turned 30 in July, and health issues have kept me from visiting. Going to make a trip before surgery at the end of the month, just in case. Oh, man. Man, enjoy seeing your son, and man, prayers for you on that surgery, brother. There's JJ Rainey out there. Everybody saying hi to JJ. I met Mr. Bob Dabalina. Bob Delina has a song that the band The Monkees had years ago. And anyway, Bob, along with DJ out there, just some wonderful music people. And so they always, anytime it comes to a classic rock or guitars or any of that stuff, they're the go-to people for sure. Yeah, and so I heard this yesterday evening, and maybe I shouldn't bring it up, but I think it's worthy of saying. Because it's been brought up about brainwashing, blah blah blah, or this and that. And so I heard the fact the person Google it on their phone, and it said something about brainwashing, and it was said that something that's said over and over again, to meet an agenda or whatever, like there's different definitions. And then they played a lot of news clips and about certain people, being Hitler or being a Nazi or this and that. And so I think for anybody to do stuff like that, there's something ill-minded about them, and I think, my own personal opinion, they all need Jesus, same as the rest of us do. And I understand that, like, when you have two sides, one side, and each side is trying to always maybe outdo the other side. But, I begin to wonder, it's like when you keep saying like really bad stuff about how the world's going to end, or your life's never going to be the same because some person's elected, or people speaking just our First Amendment and stuff like that. I think there is people out there that might take that serious, and so I think all of us should be careful a lot of times with what might be spouting out of our mouth, if it's either news or to our own children or whatever, because that can be used as good or bad. And the same way as we want to use it for good, and we talk to like our children when they're young about the Lord and all that stuff, that is putting, like, in our case, truth, that we believe to them. And so I just think that, we should all not try to be negative, and always try to be positive. And that's one thing when I started this channel, about make somebody's day better, because I want to make somebody's day better. I tell myself that every day. And, and I think when you put stuff in your mind every day, it should be positive and, something for good and not something for bad. And anyway, there's Bubba. Bubba just jumped in the green room. Hope you ain't been back there very long, buddy. I just now looked down and seen you.
Nah, brother, I've been here a little bit, not that long.
I'm sorry, buddy. I hope
you good. You good.
I hope you enjoyed the sandwiches and the Kool-Aid and everything that's back there.
I did.
Oh, man, you just got off work, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, I was texting back and forth with you earlier this evening. You said, man, I don't know if I want to jump on because I got a lot to say, and and I don't want to be that guy or whatever. But I'm just telling you now, buddy, this is not gun sparing therapy. I mean, we always try to keep to family mode, and a channel for everybody. But also, the reason I did this tonight is so, people can express, how they feel, and it's just like that fellow we had on here earlier, kind of started off on the wrong foot, but I wasn't going to boot him, unless it got out of hand, because, he was talking how he feels and stuff like that. So, anyway, Bubba, we're talking about 9/11 and Charlie Kirk. So, man, I'll give you the floor, brother.
I think I caught the tail end of the discussion that was going on with the guy with the 9/11. Everybody's got their own conspiracy theories for that stuff. It truly doesn't matter. Life was lost. Mm-hmm. Remember the lives that were lost. It doesn't matter how it happened anymore at this point, because we're never going to get the truth. If it was some kind of undercover stuff, we're never going to get the truth. And people are going to formulate their opinions based on what they think and what they believe or what they've been told or what they researched. So no matter what, lives were lost. Worry about the lives lost. It doesn't change that lives were lost. And as far as the whole Charlie Kirk thing, I really, really was going to make a video when it happened. And I had to stop myself because I let what the person who killed Charlie Kirk, it would have been me letting the thing that the person used to kill Charlie Kirk out, and that wouldn't have been good for anybody. Hatred is not good in any semblance, in any sense, in any context. It is never, ever a good thing, no matter how much it hurts. And if I'd have done any video the day that it happened, it would have been nothing but anger and hatred, and I don't want that. Charlie Kirk did not want that. Charlie Kirk was against any forms of violence, any forms of hatred. And and for the people that are online right now, like on Reddit, especially Reddit, that are saying the exact opposite, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
You are evil people, and you are showing your true colors right now. So only thing that this has done is proved Charlie correct when he said these words: whenever the conversation ends, violence starts.
Mm-hmm.
You proved him right. You proved Charlie Kirk right. And we all see the animals that you are. You are disgusting, despicable, demonic. Demonic lead has to be people. You have no honor. You have no value. You have no morals. You have no right to even consider yourself to be a human being. But I guess that's what you all always wanted, because you wanted to be called Zim Zip Zip Zop Zip Zip Bop or whatever other freaking words that you all wanted. To those people, I say, and I can't believe I didn't fill up my swear jar for this one, but fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. You have no right to this world. You have no right to existence when you laugh and celebrate the death of somebody who only spent his entire life wanting to have a discussion. You chose not to have the discussion. You chose to just, instead of even having the discussion and lose, because you always lost, instead to end the life of a man who has done nothing but try to help.
Mm-hmm.
Despicable and wicked, viperous generation of losers.
Yeah, I mean, it really upsets me when I see some of these videos of people celebrating that. And oh man, J Delta, come back on, buddy. I seen you in the green room just about time I was going to click on your deal. You went out, so if you can come back in, brother. Yeah, that's one of the things that when I see, some of these videos that's been going around circulating, the only thing I can think of is, just, evil. I mean, those people, need to find the Lord, I mean, that's just, it's just so disgusting. Yeah, Justin
takes
knows
a very weak mind.
Social media is a breeding ground for hatred. The elites sit back and watch the show. Yep.
It takes a very weak mind to just be a part of that crowd, the whole rejoicing in. And that was my post that I made yesterday. And like you, I was going to make a video, but I stopped myself because I had, I guess, the hurt. The hurt can come out as hatred, and I don't want that. I don't hate these people. Now I think that the people that are rejoicing are absolute pieces of trash. I'll tell them straight to their face. I would be more than happy to. And that's the one post I made yesterday. I said, if you're rejoicing in this, you are a piece of trash, delete me. You're all cowards. I promise you. Because there's nobody out there that's rejoicing that will come to my face and say it. 'Cause there's I just don't get it, man. I would never do that to somebody. Never, never rejoice in somebody losing a husband, two beautiful daughters losing their dad because you couldn't handle what he said, because you couldn't handle him just simply stating facts. Because people don't like facts no more. Facts don't suit the narrative, right? Facts hurt your feelings because now everything's about feelings. You know, it ain't about facts. It ain't about truth. It's about feelings, and I hate that.
Like Ben Spur always says, facts ain't got no feelings. you know, and you know.
And so what the messed up part is, this entire ideology was based off something that everybody said it wouldn't escalate to. It started off with pronouns. Then it started off with, if you don't use them pronouns, they hurt us because it causes depression. So now words are now violence, and they turn violence into acts of war. So that's what their rhetoric is. Words are apparently violence. Words cause physical harm. It's like it doesn't matter that it's somebody's opinion. It doesn't matter what somebody's opinion is. If you are too weak-willed to not accept that somebody has a different opinion than you, then you're too weak-willed to live. Like your existence is inconsequential. You are a waste of space. You're a waste of thought. You're a waste of effort. Stop worrying about what other people have a thought about. That it serves no purpose. What does it do? What does it do? Oh my gosh, yeah. It's not like they're hunting you. They're not doing anything like that. So what does it matter? But instead, you decide to hunt us because you believe the words are violence.
Yeah, if words were violent, buddy, man, I'd have been gone a long time ago, you know, with ex-girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, no joke. I'd have been dead several times over by exes. My gosh, the hurtful things that a woman can say when they're mad at you. My God.
Oh man.
It's just like, yeah, I never have understood it. I never have understood this. Why people want to do this stuff. I have never understood that once in my life. Because whenever Trump had the assassination attempt on him, do you guys remember what I said? I said, and I believe I'm quoting myself directly, I said, I would feel just as angry if it was Joe Biden that got shot at versus Trump. It's the same thing. I don't want anybody to die. Why is that such a hard thing? It's like, well, you're just sitting on the fence. I'm not sitting on the fence. Life is precious. Even someone who I find absolutely despicable. Life is precious. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Nobody is taught the sanctity of life anymore. It doesn't matter. We're just going to abort a baby. It doesn't matter. That guy's Jewish, so we don't care about him. Like, really? Are you serious?
Well, one thing that we know about Charlie Kirk and is, you know, that he definitely was a Christian. And when this coward, you know, if it was one person, group of people or whatever, you know, what they didn't realize is when they thought that, you know, they ended his life, they didn't end his life. He just got a different address. You know, he's in a lot better place than he left. You know, I mean, you know, and not only that, you know, they made a martyr out of him. You know, not only a Christian martyr, a political martyr. You know, you know, it's like if you got a dandelion, you know, or whatever weed that seeds and it's in full bloom out there in your yard, and you go to take it down, and you might kill that plant, but when those seeds fly around and land, guess what? You got way more weeds and dandelions than you had to start out with that first one. And, I believe as bad of a thing that happened, I think that many, many seeds were planted yesterday. And that's going to grow and blossom. And real quick, Jay Delta's got on here, and I see you're in Kentucky, brother. And
yes, sir. Sorry for being late. Looking for the email. I've been all these times since I got on the chat, and finally came on, and my other iPad died, so I'm on the second iPad right now. So, thank you for inviting me tonight.
He's in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got 2 of us now.
Yeah, and I'm using the hotel Wi-Fi, but it's working now. So,
yeah, Michael Dunn definitely gonna miss his videos, no doubt about that, man. So Jay Delta, Jose,
sir.
Everybody's kind of had the floor here to say what they think, about 9/11 and Charlie Kirk. So we'll just give you the floor right now, brother, and so you can express whatever you'd like.
Yes, I agree with you. The world, we had kicked God out of our lives. So, people don't want to hear that, but that's true. So that's my opinion. And so, I noticed that there's a group of people when they cannot win the argument, then they resort to calling your names and calling you all kind of things. They call you racist, they call you this and the other. And then they resort to violence. And it's because they can win the argument because they're I know everybody has an opinion and we respect that, but the truth is the truth. So no matter how you're trying to color it or cover it. So just because I disagree with you, that doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and take your life. I mean, it's just not right. Regardless, what your religion is, it's not right. So the easier way is to, take somebody's life. And then if you really, I'm not saying for anybody to do this, but if you really are angry and all that, why you throw the rifle away in Charlie's case, right? And then run away. So wait a minute. So, you know what I mean? They say they stand for what they believe, but they won't face the consequences. So I know somebody made a comment that probably was a pro. Well, a pro will never leave the rifle behind. If you're a true sniper or a professional, you'll never leave the rifle behind. And you won't use a Mosin Nagant or a 308. You use some high power rifle that is, you can take apart and take with you. So I was mentioning, people probably disagree with me. I'm not a sharpshooter, was in the Army, but I was a medic. So, I didn't supposed to fix people. But we practice in a center fire, 200 yards, seating or in a prone. It's not a hard shot to do. So, in my experience, I done it. So some of those rounds at 200 yards, probably you lose 1.5 to 2.5 inches. So if he was hitting, and I don't want to be graphic, if he was aiming for the head, and probably Charlie moves his head, and probably that's what he hit him in the neck. I mean, that's my opinion. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but on and on, it's not, you do not resolve differences by trying to hurt somebody physically or emotionally or, whichever way. So, and if you want to bring me to your side, right, you convince me that's, you want to convince me that your side is the right side. And if you have the right persuasion and you got the goods, you may sway me to your side, right?
Yeah.
But when you're going to resort to call me names or use violence, I'm not going to turn to your side no matter what. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how all of us got married. It went through calling names being violence. It's trying to persuade our wife that we were the right choice.
That's right. And I guess it
It's
works
more
if you say the
flies
right
with honey.
words, right?
Yeah, and Justin Lowe out there says, I got to meet Jay Delta this evening. He's a top-notch guy. All right. Well, we won't
Yeah,
tell
I'm an
we won't tell
old
everybody
top
that.
notch, an old top notch. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's
You know,
down
and I
there.
like that analogy that you brought there about the wife. You know, like me and my wife we are opposites, right?
Mhm.
But do you know if you find the laws of physics, equals reject, opposites attract. So in order for you to have a current to flow, right? Current, electrical current, you need a negative pole and a positive pole. Now, if you got, I'm not an electrician, but I learned these when I was teaching, cable stuff, that TV stuff. If you got AC power, right, that electric wave can change directions, right, at any time.
Yeah.
But if you are direct power, like a battery, you always run from the negative pole to the positive pole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you got to have opposites to have a connection.
Exactly. And that's why Bubba don't know this yet, but his future wife's going to be somebody that's 5 foot tall and loves Glocks.
Oh God, no.
Mine likes Smith & Wesson 380. So yeah.
Bubba going on days like, let's see your everyday curry. If she pulls out Glock, he's like, nah, I'm sorry. This just ain't going to work out.
This ain't going to work out. During the marriage, like while the reception's going on. No.
Yeah.
Do you take what's she carrying? Glock? No.
Yeah, I know. What are you getting? Glock? Oh my goodness.
I've made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't pay for this marriage.
Yeah.
I had to razz Bubba a little bit there.
I'm glad you had this live stream tonight. It's good to have and to voice your opinion. But I never met Charlie personally, but he's still alive. And he hit me hard because you don't expect that, even though the Bible said that our lives are like a vapor. One minute we're here and the next we are not. But it's just when people don't understand, right? And you get frustrated. Imagine if every time I get frustrated, I go kick my dog. I don't have one, but if I would, you know what I mean? Hey, dog, let me kick you. It's your fault. And that's what happens sometimes. And we got to, when 9/11 happened, we got to unify really good as a nation, right? But soon we forgot. And we went back to, and if you see these kind of people here, and they might not like what I'm going to say, but there's a lot of people that like to divide us, right? You call, in the military term, you call divide and conquer, right?
Mm-hmm.
United, we can do more things together, right? And we got to have some common ground somewhere. Can't be all negative. There's got to be a common ground somewhere. And I think a marriage is a good illustration. There is something that we like, but me and my wife, we are opposites. You know what I mean? I like to spend, she like to save. I'm being honest. Trying to get some brownie points with the wife in case she's watching. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So, I am all bubbly. I talk to a tree. I'll make friends with a tree and a rock. Right? She's more, she loves people, but she's more conservative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but we balance each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't agree 100%, but we've been together, 40 years. I think 40 or 42 years. Yeah. We celebrated in August. And we have had some big bumps in the road. You know what I'm saying? And he has some being hunky dory, roses. But the thing is, it's not how you start a run, because I used to run marathons. It's how you finish. So
Exactly.
I start runs, and this guy took off. You didn't see it. At mile 15, he ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And he was twice a better runner than me, but I finished in better time. Why? Because, he
Yeah.
started too fast. So
Yeah.
it's got to be a balance somewhere.
Yeah. Michael Dennis is out there yin and yang. Exactly, buddy.
Yep. You got to have that balance. And, I love people. You can tell I love people. But, I know some people don't like me. Maybe it's my face, my accent. I don't know. And I got some prejudice because I didn't know. See, sometimes we are prejudiced on things that we have no idea what it is, and we are afraid to face that.
Yeah.
But you know how you go somewhere and you look at a person and say, I don't like that person. Did you ever done that? I'm gonna confess here, live TV. I'm confessing. You guys help me out, right? But then when you get to talk to that person, it's the nicest person you ever met.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've seen on Charlie's videos several times that somebody'd step up the mic and they would say something similar to this, like, Charlie, I don't agree with most anything that you say or believe, but I'm a fan, And, these are mostly like college kids, and I'm here to debate you on, religion or whatever, or something that you said. And, even though they might not agree, they stepped up to that mic and, so many of them showed respect, because he didn't like put him down, he just had a nice debate with them, and they could walk away, just fine. And we miss so much of that, in our life. And from what I'm understanding, he started Turning Point at 18 years old in his parents' garage, and he was 31. I believe going to be 32 in just like a short time. So what's that? 13 years?
Mm.
In 13 years, this man has touched. I heard the numbers differ a little bit, but at one number I did hear 85 million people or followers across the world. Can you imagine having 13 years of doing, something that you felt really compassion for and touch 85 million plus people? I mean, there's power in that, and, maybe not all of them were fans or agreed with him, 100%, but, they knew who he was. Most of them respected him. And, I just thinking about that today, and it's like, man, 13 years of doing something like that and changing people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been on this planet 57 years, and
Wow.
and it's like, man, this young man,
Mm-hmm.
at a young age, did so much more than most of us could even, think about,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and, I was literally, sick at my stomach yesterday hearing that, and then even today, just processing all of it. And, that's why I want to do this show tonight. And on top of everything going on, I don't want us, to forget about 9/11, because, I assume that this is probably not part of a history lesson in a lot of schools nowadays. 9/11 was what, 24 years ago. And so, like, there's people been born that didn't like, or maybe they were even too young. So, you jump it up to 5 years or 6 years old or longer. You're talking about, an age span of like 25 to 30 years that did not live through or remember 9/11. And if history is not learned, history has a tendency of repeating itself, and so, I just, my heart, just goes out to all the 9/11, people. I just don't want us to forget that. And I think, hopefully for years to come that, not only on these 2 days, the 10th and 11th, that, we remember 9/11, but also, remember, what happened to Charlie Kirk. And so,
I said one more thing. I learned this from my mother many years ago. They both died. So we got to come together at some point, because, if I'm working on something and I cut myself, I bleed red, right? I bleed red. I bleed red, and all of us, that's who we are. So beyond this is just, I don't know, this protection that we have, right? But if we all bleed the same color.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So I am very proud of being American, and I'm not running for office. So just let me put that caveat out there. But I do. I signed up to give my life for this country. And I was talking to Chad and Justin today, and shout out to them, and they have treated me like family. So I'm glad I came. So love these guys. But I signed up. I joined the Army in 1977. Right? That's when I walked into Fort Dix, New Jersey, all scared to death. I know I can't speak English very well, but I couldn't speak at all back then. So I was scared to death. But I knew that day when I walked into that recruiter, and that day when I walked into basic training, that I was going to make it a career. And I signed my name on the dotted line to protect this country, and I stand through that today, to that oath that I took over 20 some years ago, 30 years. It's been a while. So, there's something we have in common that we can agree, even if it's agree to disagree, but when we leave that platform, we can still be friends. We don't have to be enemies. We can be friends. And, this is a great country. We're not perfect. Not at all. We have done things that we are not proud of it. But I have the opportunity and the privilege of being in other countries, right? And I'll tell you what, I lived it for years. I take the United States of America any day. No offense to anybody listening, okay? Because I got my own island in Puerto Rico, and I love my little island. But, I took that oath, when I took that oath in 1977. So I live by that oath since then. And, I love our country, and I know we are better than what people say we are. I know we are. We just got these agreements, and we don't see everything the same way. We don't want to be robots, right? We want to be unique. But then there's something we got in common. I know we do. We just got to find it, but we got to be willing to find it.
Yeah. Justin asked a while ago, where were you when the first plane hit Twin Towers? And me and Fuel and Firepower, we kind of answered this earlier, and so I'm gonna go down this chat here. DJ says he's at work. He says she was in kindergarten. Justin says he just come home for lunch. He was in college. Fuel and firepower. Justin says 10th grade earth science. And Uncle Dan says I was in the hospital having my firstborn with the wife. And Bubba says 8th grade English, Mrs. Myers. So anyway, Bubba and J Delta, we'll let you guys answer that. Me and Justin was talking about this earlier about when that happened, how that day is still so clear in our minds, like we was talking about, might not remember the day before or the day after, but that day, was clear. I mean, I remember exactly everything that went on that day, either prior to the night before, because what I was doing, driving an asphalt truck, for my buddy at the time to, well, that's another thing. I also, the school sent out a deal if any parents wanted to come pick up their children that we could. So I did go out and pick up my kids, and they were young, and they hadn't heard anything. They didn't know what was going on. So I was real thankful, that our school gave the parents the opportunity to talk to them about it instead of just them being in school and seeing people crying and not understanding what was going on, And so anyway, Bubba and Jose will let you guys answer. Bubba, you want to go first, or
Jose can go first.
Okay, Jose.
Well, I was at work. We were going to have a meeting where we were getting ready for a meeting, and we keep our TVs on because we work with a cable provider, so we keep a TV in our office in case one of our technicians in the field call, and say, "Hey, what's wrong with this channel?" And President Bush was talking to some children, I think in Atlanta or somewhere in Georgia, somewhere. And one of the Secret Service leaned over and tell him something on his ear, and you can see his face, how he changed. I will never forget that. And I, being in the military, I knew something negative had happened at that moment. And of course, then the news come back when a plane, that hit one of the towers or whatever, the first one. And of course, it was, all the meetings in our business canceled that day. They said, if you're not, you don't need to feel taking care of the customer, you could go home or whatever, you need to take a break or something. So I will never forget.
Yeah. And yeah. Bubba, you're, younger in school, just like Justin. So you said he was in 8th grade English class?
I was in 8th grade English class with Mrs. Myers. I'll never forget that woman. Couldn't stand her. She was a young teacher. She thought she had everything under control and knew everything about the world. Anyway, but they wheeled in the TV to every classroom. Every classroom had a TV. They said something's going on. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody had any semblance of what was going on. And they all turned on the TV. And about that time, the second plane hit. And it was a mind screw for me because I thought, what are you watching this movie for? I'm a kid, so I think it's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized I think it was Fox News or whatever equivalent it was back then. I can't remember. But I just remember looking over, and I had a bully when I was in middle school. Now, crazy for you to think that because I was 6 foot tall in 8th grade. So you wouldn't think somebody, but I got bullied quite a bit. And this one guy that was particular he was really particular about picking on me. And I just remember that whenever we saw that, that bully came over to me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's going to bully me right in front of the teacher. This just happened. And he apologized for every wrong that he had done to me. It didn't last long. About 2 months later, he was back at it, and we got in a fist fight. But still,
Yeah.
it was surreal. It's something. It was the same feeling I got when I saw Charlie die.
Mm-hmm.
It was the exact same feeling. And it's just crazy. I remember I looked over and my backpack got knocked over, and I think a Dungeons and Dragons a book popped out, and I was just like, "What in the world? Everything's going to hell today." I said, he apologized to me. I was just like, "Oh gosh, we are screwed."
Well, one thing I can say is it seemed to bring Americans together. When you see those videos of, the streets of New York, people weren't like stopping to ask somebody what race, religion, or anything they were, or if they were Republican or Democrat or nothing. They were reaching out, getting them a hand, regardless, because they were Americans, they were human beings. And, it is sad that it took something like that to bring, people together, and that's one thing I can say, at least with the history of America. When somebody comes against America, Americans do pull together, and they're the baddest SOBs, in the world when somebody's trying to take that freedom from them, and, that's just, just that deal with 9/11, everybody was, it just pulled everybody together, so much. And then, years later, I see the tools and wrenches of, and I'm going to say this, politicians trying to pry and spread everybody back apart, and, it's just, it's not right. I don't agree with that. I mean, and it's sad, that I remember, I don't know how many days or weeks it was after 9/11, but we were sitting in church, and right in the middle of the sermon, the church secretary come like running out and went up to the pastor. He paused and reached over to talk to him, and then he turned around and said, we just learned that, George W. Bush has declared war, and everybody went to their knees and started praying for this nation, and what a warm feeling that it felt for Americans to be coming together, supporting each other, and pulling for each other. And then what we see today, it makes me sick that, there's so much division and strife, it brings full circle around, to Charlie Kirk, somebody that was going from college to college, the belly of the beast, for what he was doing. And he was going in there and having fair and honest conversation with these, college students, good or bad, and trying to make a connection and, pull this country back together. And then some coward, takes it upon herself individually or grouped together, or whatever the case might be, to try to end that. I just hope that this country pulls together again over a situation like this, the same way it did as 9/11, because I've seen posts on X and everything, Hollywood movie stars, musicians, so many people that I didn't think probably even had a clue who Charlie Kirk was, put out something, a tweet or something about how much he had touched their life and everything. So, I pray to God that, that he takes something, bad like this and turns it into something good.
Well, guys, I gotta get off here. It's way past mine and wife's bedtime, and she's starting to stare at me.
Yeah, and we're gonna end this. And I appreciate everybody coming on here tonight. Especially short notice and through a weeknight. And so anyway, Justin, I know you gotta jump here. We'll let you go ahead and go first. What do you got coming up, buddy, with your videos and your channel?
Just more of the same, man. Air gun stuff. And I got some racing at the end of the month, so we're gonna do racing and air gun.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Fine thing.
And yeah, guys, go and check out Fuel and Firepower. Great channel. You'll really enjoy it. Go there and do yourself a favor and subscribe. Justin's a great guy and does great content, buddy. Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. God bless you. And real quick, Justin, before you leave, we'll go ahead and go on around the panel and everything before you take off. But before you do, Jose, would you like to lead us in a quick prayer real quick?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. We pray for America. We pray for our families, our grandchildren and children, Lord, and every person under the sound of our voice. Today we ask you for mercy and grace and unite us, oh God. And a nation that is united is not easy to divide, oh Lord. And we thank you for your goodness and mercy and grace and your protection over our lives, over our families, over our friends and acquaintances, Lord. Hear and forgive and give us mercy and grace. We know we don't deserve it, but we come to you because you are the giver of mercy and grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Justin, you have a wonderful evening, brother.
Good night, Justin.
You guys. Good night, brother. See y'all.
And DJ throughout Fuel and Fire Panels channel there. He's also throwing out J Deltas. And thank you, DJ, for that, buddy. Sure appreciate it. And so, Bubba, I know you've been super busy with your new job and different work hours and all this and that. So, I know you might not have a whole lot coming up, but anyway, we'll give you what do you want to share with us? If you do have anything coming up, and just kind of your ending opinion on everything, brother.
Okay.
Asking a lot, ain't I?
Charlie Kirk was a hero, and he is to be remembered as such. He did not die. He just went home. And I pray for his family. I pray for the people that witnessed it, that this would not destroy them mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I pray that justice happens. I pray for justice. As far as stuff for me coming up, nothing probably. If I do a video, fair warning.
Halloween?
Well, no, Halloween's going to happen no matter what. I'll take a day off. I'll do the Halloween video. I don't care. But if I do a video about Charlie, fair warning, I am probably going to be a lot more explicit than I usually am. And among other things. And if at all possible, can we please play Tom McDonald's Charlie song before we get off here?
Yeah, I will see if I can cue it up. And of course, I didn't monetize this show at all. So if I get a copyright strike, it don't matter. So I'll look for that and try to get it queued up. So J Delta, tell us what you're going up. Excuse me. Dang it. Got coming up, and why in the world are you in Kentucky?
I am in Pikeville, Kentucky. Beautiful place. I'm telling you, Chad took me around and showed me it's beautiful. And Chad and Justin, man, I tell you, they're being great and graceful to me. And so we got to go eat today. Had a great time. I had some wonderful fish. It was good. So we're going back to the range tomorrow to try some ammo and set up some stuff. And then Saturday morning we're going to be out there a little early trying to set up some things for the match on Saturday. I'm really, really excited. Hasbro will be here tomorrow. I think he's bringing me that nice rifle. Yeah, he's going to bring it. He said, take it to North Carolina. Psych, right? And then next week, I got a couple of videos coming out. So on the Way Rock 660 HW match. So, and thank you for having me tonight.
Your mic's muted.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I was pulling this video up and I didn't want it to play here before I got it all ready. So anyway, I'll see, let me finish, make sure. Michael Dunn says, I knew I wouldn't handle seeing it in person. That'd mess up a lot of minds. Yeah. I've not watched that close-up video. I just refuse to. I don't want, when I lay in bed at night, I don't want to be remembering Charlie like that. And so anyway, let me share this. We're going to sign off at the end here with this video, and that way if YouTube takes it down, it'll be right here at the end. And so hopefully everybody can see and share this. And I want to leave you guys with this song right here. And I guess, never forget, what happens, with 9/11. And with Charlie Kirk, just tell the youngins, each and every year, we can't let evil take over and, win. We have to stand up and fight. And one way we can do that is by, spreading not only God's word, but the word of what happens when evil is in control and takes over. So we'll end with this right here.
Shot down and he was barely 31. Another woke coward took a life with a gun. He left behind a wife and a daughter and a son. All he did was try to speak for all of us. And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists. They shot and killed the father, sent a message to Americans. They ain't gonna stop until they bury us. Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us, but good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day. Killed in cold blood for having a discussion, and liberals are celebrating murder like it's justice. You didn't kill a villain or the evil that it comes with. You killed a father and a husband. And I'm so tired of the left and all the wokery. We can't get along if you just kill us when we don't agree. Sniper rifle fire from a liberal that no one sees. Scared I might be next to die when I'm just buying groceries. Charlie, we'll make sure your children know that defending all our freedom is why you aren't coming home. I hope heaven has a window you can watch your children grow and hear your message echo from below. And we ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us, but good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day.
All right. Good night and God bless everyone.
Night, guys.
Love you all. Everybody say good night.
Night, everybody.